you're about to hear. You're about to hear now from Tom Devine, who is from the Government Accountability Project. And you wait till they mobilize people behind this bill. Thank you.
Hi, folks. Congressman Wynn and Representative Van Horten's reform is long overdue. In 1912, Congress passed the Lloyd-LaFollette Act, which makes it illegal to harass anyone for communicating with Congress. We call it the Congressional Right to Know law. The problem is that since it was passed, it's been a right without a remedy. Not including any process for enforcement. We call a right without a remedy a law that's about as valuable as used tissue paper. And that's what the reality has been in practice for people trying to act on that right. There have been 59 lawsuits since passage of the Lloyd-LaFollette Act. The court has thrown out 58 of them because Congress didn't give them any authority to enforce it. And that's what this law does. Under the Congressional Disclosures Act, any person who is paid with taxpayer funds and retaliated against for communicating with Congress would have the right to immediate court access with a jury trial. And they wouldn't have to exhaust lengthy, dragged-out administrative proceedings. They'd be able to go right to the people and say, I need some help, an injunction, an order defending my right to keep communicating with Congress. This is very, very significant. By locking in this, by proposing this reform, Representatives Wynn and Van Hollen have put the rest of Congress on the spot. Quick action that locks in protection for congressional witnesses means that Congress is serious about having hard-hitting oversight. It's not realistic to hold flashy hearings and ask for witnesses to submit evidence of political hot potatoes if they can't defend themselves in the nightmare that almost always happens afterwards. Congress has to stand behind its witnesses if it's serious. The second aspect of this bill may even be more significant for our freedom as Americans. It creates an affirmative defense against retaliatory criminal investigations and prosecutions. This has been one of the most ugly phenomena of the last few years. Increasingly, the pattern is that government officials seek imprisonment of whistleblowers for the same activity that it would be illegal to fire them for. There is no excuse for this. At the Government Accountability Project, we're putting up a page today on our website, a web page on criminal retaliation. We're going to keep making a record of all the people who are forced to endure this nightmare because they committed the truth, but they're treated like they committed a crime. The last aspect of this bill is right up in the front lines with the other two. It extends whistleblower rights against retaliation to all employees who are paid with taxpayer funds. This goes beyond the Whistleblower Protection Act amendments, which only cover congressional contractors. It means that people like Roland Chalafo's troops, the doctors who get federal grant money and Medicare funds, that they will have free speech rights as well. If we're paying for their salaries, they've got the right to commit the truth. This bill has 3 strikes. I basically viewed the last 6 years as sort of the dark ages for America. A time when we've had unprecedented government corruption and abuse of power, which has been sustained by secrecy. This legislation is 3 strikes against the dark ages. Let's do it. Let's turn the lights back on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. When all of your colleagues know about about Halliburton and the fact that they not only received hundreds of billions of dollars in the past 4 or 5 years, but have left the country. So you're not going to tax us. And I wanted to read the whistleblower who blew a whistle on some deals that they did. Sister Greenhouse, excuse me, Mother Greenhouse, would you come here and tell the kind of support that this ministry is going to have? And to live to see it.
Well, thanks to Congressman Wynn and your colleagues, and thanks for this press conference, and thanks to all of you who are here to really understand the challenges, that some of us are experiencing. My name is Bonatine Hayes Greenhouse, and I'm required to tell you that I appear in my personal capacity, and I'm likewise obligated to tell you that I do not speak on behalf of the U.S. Army, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, or the Department of Defense.
You're so proper.
And that is unfortunate. In 2005, I was invited to testify before a congressional committee regarding billions of dollars that had been improperly awarded to the defense contractors in preparation for the invasion of Iraq. Before I chose to voluntarily appear, my agency, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, made it quite clear that disclosing information to members of Congress would have a negative impact on my career. Ignoring this advice, I chose to provide testimony to that congressional committee. Within weeks of testifying, I was removed from my position as the Army Corps' procurement executive and chief of contracting, where I had served without challenge for more than 8 years, effectively managing more than $23 billion in contracts to the highest degree of integrity, impartially, beyond reproach, and with preferential treatment toward none. I really would like to thank you, Congressman Wynn, and all of your colleagues for the work that you have done on this immensely important piece of legislation. For too long, honest public servants have been vilified for reporting illegal, wasteful, or abusive activities to Congress. Know that the end result of a system that does not effectively penalize administration officials from threatening or taking adverse actions against individuals who wish to report to Congress will result in billions of dollars of waste and will harm our national security and our environment. I absolutely want to thank you for giving us some affirmative insights into the backbone of Congress that this legislation absolutely symbolizes. This bill will send a clear message that our government will not accept a culture of cronyism and retaliation, but rather we will only settle for a system which values above all responsibility, integrity, and honesty. This bill firmly supports my belief that integrity and accountability in government is not an option. It is an obligation. So again, thanks to all of you for your efforts.